I had a case also. They stole the truck, the full truck with $5-6 million of merchandise inside. There was an inside job from the company who was doing the delivery, the transit, the freight forwarder.
How long did it take you to get to the bottom of it?
I had to send. We find everything, and I have to send one of my guy. It's a police officer, part time. He worked for me part times. He flew to California and he went there and he started the investigation. From there, we find everything. We got access of the camera, the videos, and it was interesting. Very, very interesting place.
It sounds like a company owner and a brand dreamer. You have to arm yourself with the right partners, and a private investigator is the right.
Absolutely, from your background check for employee screening to your counterfeit trademark protection to any employee fraud, employee domestic violence, or anything that we can help you to protect your business.
Welcome back to episode 7 with the only one, Victor Elbeze, private investigator of South Florida and the world. And today we're going to have the pleasure to talk about counterfeit and brand protection.
Yes, exactly. This is a new chapter that we want to talk about corporate investigation. Okay. As you know, there is so many ways that we can work and help corporate company, So counterfeit, trademark, brand protection, it's a big chapter. Okay. And what I want to say is recommend all the companies who are branding some products to be very careful, especially at the beginning when they start their business, because they have to set up everything to protect their brand. Okay. So, for example, the best way to start is to create a coding system that will that will actually help you to trace where the goods are coming from. Because if there is no coding, that's a way that you can recognize any cloned products as well. So today, I remember a long time ago, we used to have special coding, especially on the cosmetic and perfume. It was specific numbers, it was on the box. Later on, they put it on the bottle of the perfume, inside the perfume. It was a laser inscription inside with a special code. Today, there is so many ways to do it. They have a special barcode, or it's a system that recognize the authenticity of your products. Okay, so this is something that you need to create with the factory of your products.
So an arrangement with the factory that it's like a intellectual property between you, your company, your brand, and the company that you are manufacturing.
Absolutely. So it's very important. So that's the way to define how we can recognize authentic goods and fake goods.
So wait a second, going back to the basics. So when there is a leak of that intellectual property, where is that leak happening? On the factory, or the factory that you are outsourcing and creating a sort of a contract? Where is it? Where is the leak?
When that happens, okay, it's easy because look, you have a successful products. You're starting. Your products sells very well. So there is demand. Okay. When there is demand, obviously you're gonna start to have a counterfeit problem because there is money there. So they're gonna try to copy your products. Okay. Unfortunately, most of the time, this is coming from China and India as well, and Thailand as well. All those countries, they have a very strong temptation to copy successful brand and create a parallel market. So it can be very dangerous first of all, for the consumer, okay, and also for your brand. If you don't realize that you have an invasion of fake products running, that's a problem.
So the way I see it is, let's say you create the UIA investigation brand, which you did, right? And then somebody else in China decide that they see that you are successful, they see that you have a demand, and they want to create this brand now over there. So essentially, somebody else is making money on your brand while you're paying the cost. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, but this is Actually, my brand is different because we're not selling a product.
No, it was an example.
Like I'm gonna talk about something that I work. I have client. I work for electronic cigarette brands. Okay, vapes. So this is a new product. The last 10 years, nobody was using that. Now it's became very big. It's too big to fail, actually. And I had clients coming. They were starting. They were young people. Young guys, very smart, and they came up with these products, and they start to develop the brand, and everything was selling very well. And it's a business. They start the first year they were doing $1 million, $2 million, and in less than 4 or 5 years they were doing $60 million a month of sales. So business went so fast. All right. So there we start to see clones coming from China. There is a demand. So the Chinese are going to produce the brand that sell very well. And they're going to start to ship and have some gray market warehouse here and sell it to the public. So when we're talking about electronic cigarette, it's very dangerous. The problem is somebody smoke it. So originally the vape is not that good for you, okay? It's not healthy, all right? It's nicotine. But if it's not made with some FDA regulation, they can put anything inside. They can put toxin like drugs or anything that to save money, save like few cents, okay? And who's gonna smoke that? The kids, people in the street, and it's gonna be a liability. Second liability, all those electronic cigarettes, they have a battery inside. They can get on fire. We had problem with one of the brand that I was working with. One of their vapes supposedly got on fire, burned down a house, and one little girl died in the accident. So they got sued. They got under investigation and everything. So I could prove very fast that the brand, the products that got on fire was not my client products. That was a clone. We did. I had to take a plane and went to the place where they bought the vape. I bought the total inventory in the store of my client brand, and I sent all the samples, few samples to labs, and the lab could identify, the fake and the good. So obviously, it was a fake, it was a clone product, so that helped my client against the lawsuit that they have. So this is more or less what it is, and the only way to fight it, especially in the retail, it's to do kind of a quality control. I had an army of private investigators checking stores. We checked for just in one state, in state of Florida, we checked over 2,000 retail stores. So we were going store to store by store and checking the products and finding fake goods. We used to give a warning letter to the owner of the store and explain that what he's having on the shelf, it's dangerous and they have to remove it. And most of the time, we could seize the merchandise to eliminate any dangerous situation.
Do you work with only corporate or private companies, or do you work with organizations in the public, nonprofits?
For example, I did work with a corporate company, but also we work in collaboration with the FDA Criminal Division, which is a federal agency who regulated all those cigarette and food. And then I did a few cases with them because I used to bring cases to them directly, okay? So I was working in very close collaboration. And many times we seize a lot of merchandise and we had people arrested and all the stuff. And then later on, I did some consulting, helping the DBP, which is a Florida organization, a Florida agency to regulate tobacco, alcohol, and other professional activity. And I was consulting them, I was helping them to find out and recognize the fake vape to the real vapes. So yes, I work with different organizations. It's so funny because the FDA recommend my services to the DBPR because for everybody, this product is new. You understand? Nobody knows about what's going on. I mean,
with the vapes.
The vapes, that was a new. Now is getting a little more open because we have at least 10 years of flashback. So it's a little different. But we're talking about vapes, but we can talk. I got a case on Counterfeit. I was working for a brand. It's a Botox brand. It's a very delicate product.
For sure.
And this is an injection to people, so you can use Botox for many things. You're using for aesthetic wrinkle, you're using it for headache, it's a medicine as well. And I was trying to find out where the fake products were coming from and who was selling that. And of course, we did the investigation. We followed the trail, We do some undercover work. We do some undercover operation, and we find out that was a nurse working for like a plastic surgeon offices in Tampa. She was buying and bringing stuff from China, and instead to sell the brand for the real price, she was selling for approximately 20% of the real price, So, of course, everybody was buying and she was making a lot of money. So we did the investigation. I contacted the FDA. We worked together. The FDA took my investigation, worked a little more on the case, of course. And at the end, they arrest this lady. And obviously, she was indicted and arrested. Okay. So this is very dangerous products. This is things that you put in the human body. You can kill someone. You can poison someone. So that's why it's very important to protect your brand. And it could happen any other products. I used to also being contacted by a factory of auto part. They had a brake system, brake system for cars, and they find out that they had counterfeit brake, fake brake. The same brand, the same box and everything, but they was not the same products. So what happened when those products were installed on the car, when the car was braking when at high speed, the vehicle was, the brake was creating a fire and the vehicle was getting on fire. So it's pretty dangerous. So all those things, it's very important, not only for economic purpose,
Health.
it's also for saving life because
Saving life.
it's a liability. It's a liability for your brand.
For sure. Now that you mentioned saving lives, there is one thing that concerns me a lot. There is a lot of women that have been affected by products that are fake and they have been injected in their body for cosmetic purposes so that they can get a different kind of shape in their overall body.
Yes,
right?
Of course.
Some of them, they don't know that there is help. Some of them, they go to an attorney first to find out if they can actually find help to go after the person who is being using these products, knowing that those products are counterfeit. They are not original. Mm-hmm. And so they are causing a lot of health issues on this woman. Now, let me ask you a question. Can these women hire you as a private investigator to do an investigation on the doctors that they have been poisoning their body and silently killing them?
Yes, absolutely. That's how it starts, okay? It's not that sometimes, there is incident like that, okay? And the victim goes to the police department or there is a kind of a complaint, okay? But that doesn't mean that's going to go through, okay? Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So a lot of time as a private investigator, just, opening the fire, we're creating the fire and we're investigating, we're collecting evidence. Then when we have enough evidence, we drop the case to law enforcement. It could be any agency. So that's how it works. And then that's how the process starts. But of course, this costs money too, because they have to, we don't work for free. We're getting paid by the hours. That's different. But some people do, yes. I had cases like that. I had a case with those esthetician. They were making big lips, for a woman, and this injection and everything. And I had this girl, she was doing that from her garage, from her house, without license. That's dangerous. That's very, very dangerous.
And that's great that you mentioned that, because it's not only the silicone that they inject in their body. These doctors, that some of them, they have real license, but unknowingly they use these products because they are cheaper for them to use them, and they don't tell the victims. And so for every single woman out there that needs help to not only to uncover the truth, but to also get a shot about getting some remuneration, some to to shape up a legal case that will help you maybe recover money to use it for your own health and your recovery. This is my own thing.
Yeah, because this you can use it with a lawyer.
For
Okay,
sure.
that's gonna build your case if you sue the company or the person, and that's one thing. Sometimes you can sue the insurance company that the doctor or the business has. You know, they have a liability insurance. You can, you know, the lawyer can go after. So more evidence you have in your case, more chances you have to get compensation. Okay, that's very important.
Now, let me also bring another case to you. Why is it that a lot of companies, owners, they prefer to let people steal money from them for years instead of basically, or use to accept counterfeit products instead of hiring a private investigator and cutting the situation right from the get-go?
Okay, because first of all, they don't know at the beginning. They don't believe. Not they don't believe. They're busy with their business. Okay, they try to sell. They growing a brand, and you know, think that they can fix the problem themselves. Okay, it's not always the case, and sometimes, most of the time, when they realize that they have counterfeit products of their brand in the market, it's already too late. Okay, so my job after that is to clean up the market, and for that costs money because we need to put some boots on the ground. We need to have a team of investigator and checking warehouse, checking retail store, and find the goods, and then, you know, investigate it. Try to find out where did you buy it, which supplier sell it to you. So it's like a investigation work. Okay,
Yes, the way I see
so
it is going to.
so you know, we go to the retail store, to the wholesaler, to the distributor, and then to the factory. I was doing from a store in Tampa. Okay, I went to the wholesaler. To the wholesaler, I went to the distributor. To the distributor, I went to the factory in China. And then we closed down the factory. The Chinese government.
That's how you track the supply chain.
Of course, we have to. So, well, you know, the retail store, it's not their fault most of the time. It depends. You know, there's a lot of stores they know. For example, electronic cigarette, they sell it everywhere. You find it in gas station. So the most fake electronic cigarette that you found is not on the smoke shop. It's on the gas station or convenience store. Okay, that's where they try to sell those products.
I think is very, very important what you're saying. It's very scary because every single block away there is one vape shop.
Today it's crazy. We used to check all the vape shop, then we go to the warehouse. Then in Fort Lauderdale, we went to the warehouse. We went inside and we start to look at the products. They let you do it because those warehouse, they do general merchandise for a grocery store. Okay, so they sell everything, Coca-Cola, you know, candy, chips, everything. And they sell electronic cigarette. They even sell regular cigarette. So they have a tobacco license and everything. So we go inside, we tell them that we are looking to buy some vapes products, and they let you work around the warehouse, a lot of them. And then we find a lot of products of one of the brand that I was representing. And we look at the products, we find out right away it's fake. The packaging was different, you know, quality, you know, it's a lot of stuff. So we go, we talk to the guy, you say, hey, listen, we introduce ourselves, say we are a private investigator working on behalf of this brand. And unfortunately, we just check your warehouse and we found a lot of products, but they are not real, they're fake. They know it's fake. They told me. They say, yes, I bought it $2 less than, you know, what I buy. One vape costs $6. I bought it for $4. For me, it's good money, you know, but they didn't think that it's dangerous. So we called the police. Police department came. The guy was very cooperative. Led the police. It was a Howard Sheriff office. And then we had up to seize about $200,000 of fake things, like I don't know how many pallets. I have actually a footage video on that we can definitely show, and you can see the operation, how it works. I had cases in Texas because we have also a license in Texas, and I have clients in Texas. I'm one of the biggest electronic cigarette brand in US. And we did with Austin Police, we did some seize of very dangerous products, very, very dangerous products.
Have you had any case where you have a precedent, meaning somebody died or very severely bad affected
Of course,
by
no,
counterfeit?
we had like many things. I had this guy, he had the vape in his pocket and his pants got on fire. He has his left leg completely burned, like a second degree. I mean, pretty bad. I had the first, I was talking earlier about this 8 years old young girl, died in the house burned down. So of course there is people are, it's a dangerous products at the base.
Can injury attorneys use your services for you to build a case and give them a factual investigation so that they have certainty when they're building the case for the clients?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. What we do, I work with different lawyers, like for like a trademark, intellectual property lawyers, trademark, they want to know, they want to protect their clients. So, for example, we do have specific software, AI software, because look, the fake goods are not always in the store. Okay. Most of the fake goods are sold online. You buy them, you go
That's
online
correct.
through smoke shop website, which the smoke shop website. And then the red flag is a product that you buy in the store for $18, you find them online for $8. That's a big price difference. So those are red flags. So they're gonna sell the most famous brands. And this is come from China. I had a client also where we were doing the stores and we find products, they have flavors because electronic cigarettes have flavors, strawberry banana and etc., cotton candy and all the stuff. And we find flavor that doesn't exist in their products. So it's fake. You understand? I found products, they were vapes and they were Red Bull. So it's a double problem here you have because first, it's a violation of trademark. You have your company name, the brand, and you're selling a Red Bull vape, which it doesn't exist. Secondly, you can be sued by Red Bull because maybe Red Bull doesn't want to be associated with
For
vape.
sure.
Okay.
Yep.
And if even if he want to, he need to get money. He has royalty. That's they need to pay a royalty. So it's big time. It's a big problem. And you don't want to get a lawsuit from Red Bull because they're very
That's a
powerful.
costly,
They're
very
very
costly.
powerful. I don't think you're gonna win. So we find those vapes. They're coming from China. They do anything. They can do whatever they want. This is unbelievable. So what we did, we remove all those products of the market. We work with the people they were selling. They were like a souvenir store on the beach in Miami Beach, and it was like a brand of beachwear store. It's not the small convenience store. No, that was like a chain store. Like unbelievable. And we talked to them and we explained them what's going on. And they say, no, we bought it online. I say, yeah, where did you buy it? Where? And he showed me everything. And they bought like made in China. This is a website you buy like Alibaba made in China. They bought it from there. The vape sells for $6 wholesale. They were buying the vape for $1.95. It's a good deal. But they don't understand. They are taking a big risk for a few dollars difference. They can be sued from everywhere. Red Bull can sue the store, they can sue the brand. So when you discover those things, you say, oh, they can do crazy stuff. So there is no limit. That's why you have to be vigilant. You have to see. And my client didn't know there were Red Bull vape under his brand. We find it because we went to stores and we do quality control. We check price undercover.
Right.
It's part of it. It's a budget because we don't have to do it all the stores, but we have to do a few stores here and
Randomly.
there.
Sure.
Then you see what's going on in your market. Louis Vuitton do the same thing. Chanel, they do the same thing. Why? Because they want to control, they want to see what's going on in their market. Okay, so it's very important.
You mentioned Louis Vuitton, but before I go to Louis Vuitton, you mentioned AI.
Yes, we were talking. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I was not done with that. So what happened with the AI software that we have? We are controlling and we are monitoring what's going on online sales on the brand of our client. So when we see a very low price on items, we have a red flag, and then we check the products. So we are monitoring counterfeit sales online through any website. It could be any platform, eBay, Amazon, or We call them the wild website, which means you Google it and it pop up. We are investigating, we are checking, we're ordering samples to see if they are real. Okay, we're receiving it. So we have an address because obviously they send us the products. We do that. This is not only checking stores. This is not only checking warehouse. It's also checking e-business, e-commerce, online sales. This is a huge volume, especially on eBay, for example. On eBay for perfume, fake perfume. You know how many perfume they sell and they're fake? So I'm going to tell you a story on perfume.
Thousands.
Long time ago, I was investigating counterfeit perfume for Kevin Klein. So I was working and investigating because they had like CK1. That was at the time very good selling, like still good selling. Like, I mean, it's a nice perfume. And they were complaining that they said they had like fake products coming from everywhere. So from the store, which was a flea market, okay? You know what's a flea market? It's
Sure.
like a
Yep, it's
market outdoor.
N'importe quoi.
N'importe quoi. I went to the flea market. I find out that they were selling counterfeit CK1 perfume. So I investigate, and the merchant, the owner of the booth, told me, say, I bought it from here. It was a wholesaler in downtown Miami. So I go to downtown Miami on Flagler Street, go see the wholesaler, and he say, yeah, I sell it. Yeah, I bought it from New Jersey, from a distributor. And he say, I just received a pallet right now. So the guy was cool, was from Israel, nice guy. And he say, well, what happened? What happened? I say, listen, there is fake products. We have investigating for the brand and came up to your location. So you better check your merchandise. And he said, hey, let me check because I just received a pallet. So we opened the pallet with him, was very honest guy. And in the box, I found out that they have, he said he received a lot of CK1 and opened the box. And in the box, I take one, good. Another one, good. Another one, bad. Another one, good.
What do you mean by bad?
Bad.
What do you mean bad?
One fake, one
Okay.
good. Two fake, two goods. Which means the fake and the good, the fake and the good one were mixed up. The guy say, oh my God, I bought it from this wholesaler in New Jersey. Big wholesaler, though we went there. And that was him, actually. He was buying the real goods and he was mixing with the fake. So that was reducing his expenses. He was raising his profit. Okay. The real wholesaler bottle maybe cost $20 and he was buying it, the fake one, for $5. So you see the difference is $15 by bottle. So that bring him a lot of profit. And we discover everything. We took undercover photos, videos, and everything. We gave the report to our client, and our client contact the FBI, and the FBI contact us. They require like whatever discovery we had as well. We cooperate with them, and they went to arrest this company. They closed everything. It was a big business. They were making a lot of money.
How long did it take to do this
It took a few months.
investigation?
It's an investigation. It depends. It's not up to us. So it depends on the discovery, where we're going.
But what I'm gathering about this story that you're telling is that there are company owners that they truly care for their brand.
Yes.
And they are going to do anything and everything that they have to do to protect their brand.
Of course, the money is not a problem because look, that can destroy their business in few months. I'm serious. When you have an infection, because it's an infection, you're getting affected by fake goods that kill your products.
So now that you're saying destruction, that's a key word for me because I have a question about that. So before AI, a brand can be, the reputation of a brand by counterfeit procedures can be destroyed in months, years. But it seems that with AI, the reputation of a brand can be destroyed in minutes.
Yeah, of course. Today, everything is online. They sell it on TikTok. They sell on Instagram. They sell on Facebook. Those are huge platforms, and you don't know. There is a lot of products they sell. Like I say, there is some big brands, which is more difficult to sell on those platforms. But they have those new brands who want to be a big brand, and they are subject on, they can do like an amazing business on TikTok. They can start selling a lot. So the factory in China start to see a large volume, that means this product is selling. So a lot of people over there in China, in Asia, they start to put those items on the side and say, hey, look at this. Maybe we can produce a little more. Maybe we can reproduce that. Maybe we can do that. And unfortunately, it's a crazy business.
Do you think this counterfeit situation is stoppable?
Yes, it is stoppable. You have to be on top of your business. You have to take it very, very seriously, and you have to have a budget for that because it's costly, unfortunately, but it's much cheaper, a lot much cheaper than to find out that your brand is completely infected of a clone and fake goods. Okay. So it can be a multiple attack. You can be sued by many people. It can be a huge liability. So you have to be careful.
I mean, China is the wild card in this situation
Yeah.
because nobody can do, it seems like nobody can do anything. I don't know if you heard about the story of the Canadians that they were executed in Canada a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
I heard about that.
It's just, and so when you are there, you are subject to their laws in every single regard. So my question here is why the United States, knowing that the globalization, the core of globalization is to be able to export and do outsourcing so that we can get the economy moving and people can get the products, right? It's a win-win. It's supposed to be a win-win, but there's a lot of counterfeit and there's a risk of health and situations with people's health with products with counterfeit.
They do.
So who can help the American corporations to protect themselves?
Okay, first they have to help themselves.
Good.
Okay,
yes.
So let me tell you why. Because
yes,
you know what, people, I understand they want to get their cost lower and they want to manufacturing and have more profit and margin. So they go and they start to manufacture in China. Of course, it's cheaper, but maybe it's good the first month, the second month, and then if you don't have anybody to monitor the quality control over there, whatever that you're going to manufacture there is going to be a catastrophe when it's going to arrive here. The most important is that quality control. When you start manufacturing products, you need to have someone who's going to take care of your quality control. And in China, it's not easy. I mean, there is company in China or even American companies or European company, they do quality control for you. That's an extra cost. Like right now with what's going on with Trump, with the new government, they are looking more to keep the job here in US and manufacturing in US, which I think it's a good idea. Well, they cannot do everything because everything has a cost, okay?
For sure.
And we are completely absorbed by the Chinese manufacturing and industry here. Everything that we buy, everything that we have in our house is made in China. If we have to change it tomorrow, we won't be able to afford 90% of what we own. And it could be anything. It could be like, I'm going to take this plastic spoon that's made in China. Okay. Cost what? 1 cent. If you want to do it here, it's going to cost 3-4 cents. So it's a big difference. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
But I think there is stuff that they should not be manufactured in China.
So for any corporation out there that regards their brand important, the first layer of defense is by protecting their brand. And even if you are outsourcing, making sure that you have the proper quality controls by having the people helping you to control your brand and your product.
Look, I'm going to give you a very strong example. This is not only counterfeit good. You have quality control and also production control. In China, for example, they have manufacturing. It's not only China, it's everywhere. I had a case. It was with Lancôme. Lancôme, it's a cosmetic brand in France, in Europe. And they were producing, their factory were producing, doing the packaging, the filling. You fill the bottle, you put the pump, you put the packaging, you put everything. So there was a filling production factory for Lancôme. And they realized that they had kind of a gray market, but they could not see where it was coming because he was not originally leaving their warehouse. It was the factory that they were using. They were producing more products that it was demanded by the brand, which means, for example, they were supposed to, like a bottle of perfume, they were supposed to produce 100,000 bottles. So they were producing 120,000 20,000 more. They were selling those products much cheaper than the other. That was not fake, it was real. They were producing more than was the brand was, aware, you understand? And they were creating a parallel market. This is also that problem can kill your business, your brand,
sure.
because you're fighting with your same products. You say, okay, I sell it for $20 wholesale, and then I have those guys, they're selling for $5 wholesale.
So wait.
It's the same products.
So wait. Let me get this straight. What you're saying to me is, in simple terms, that there could be also the reason of a counterfeit could be also happening from an insider.
Yes. Which is not really an insider. Yes, it's an insider because it's a filling company, it's a subcontractor. Because L'Oreal, I don't know now because it's been a long time, but for example, I knew a company in Europe, they were doing the filling for perfume for Dior, for Lancôme, for Chanel, for different brands. Okay, that's all they do. They don't create perfume. They work for the brands. So they prepare everything. They fill up the bottle, they put the pump, the assemblage. So this is not the client. This is a subcontractor of the client. And inside you have crooked employees, okay, who's doing these kind of things. So it's very difficult to see unless you do an investigation.
Right, exactly.
And that's where we come in.
Who do you blame for the counterfeit situation that a corporation experienced? Do you blame the owner of the company, the owners of the company, or the managers that are?
We blame the company because they have to be on top of their employees, or on top of
their
production. And they do it not in China, they do it. I had a vape company, they were doing it too. You understand? And they make extra money because they want a piece of it. That's what it is, unfortunately.
I always ask you this question. What is the most shocking case that you have dealt with in terms of counterfeit and brand reputation?
The most break company for vehicle, because it was spectacular. Like when something happened, the car was exploding. It was dangerous. It was killing people.
It was live.
And then it was not only for one country. It was all over. It was international. Okay, it was a big brand of a brake. And then you have also tools. I work for a tooling company. They were like electric saw. It's very dangerous. Imagine the blade.
Yeah,
when they were using it was cracking and flying everywhere. So
crazy.
That's so crazy. It could be any tools. And the big brand, I don't want to name any brands, but the big brands of tools, they have this problem too. So before, they didn't have as much, because they may not be that famous. But then when they became very good, very famous, there's a lot of demand. You get a lot of fake. I had a client, they were telling me, they were in the perfume business also, and they were doing creating brands. And they were telling me like that. And it was funny because they say, oh, if we are getting copy in China, it's because we are getting good. That's how they were monitoring their popularity and success. They say, oh, we find already some mall, they were copying our bottles of perfume. So they were concerned, but on the other hand, they say, that's good, yes and no, because that's when we became famous and we're taking a bigger place in the market. Then after that, it's up to them to protect and control, but you're always going to have fake goods. You always going to have fake watch, always fake Rolex, Cartier. You have the bad fake Rolex that you can see, but you have the real fake. We call them the real fake.
I accept to have different degrees of quality. Let's call it that way. Different degrees of quality of a product. Let's say a watch. It's okay. But what I don't accept and what I'm adamant about raising awareness to our viewers, to a community that are seeking help after they've been affected in their health, is counterfeit on cosmetic, counterfeit on products that you put on your skin, counterfeit on products that you even drink and take. Supplements, for example.
Supplement is dangerous.
It's extremely dangerous. You were talking about fentanyl and the crisis of fentanyl that the country and the administration is fighting at this moment. There is a lot of products out there that they have degrees of quality. And we're talking about pharmaceuticals.
Pharmaceutical too. And, medication. anything like baby oil, everything for baby formula, baby's formula. They find, I don't know how many fake baby formula. They just found, I was watching, there was an investigation, you know, those detergent?
Yes.
Tile detergent,
Sure.
it's a very famous brand. I mean, I can name the brand because it's all over the news now. They find a lot of counterfeit, but you know how they figure out? Because it was, it's just like a bottle like this. Now they were selling in the barrel, big barrel, like very large volume
Yeah.
with the brand and everything. So they find out there was counterfeit and it was a parallel market that was coming from Asian country. So they do everything. The packaging that they had those fakes was not even doesn't exist in the brand references. And they do crazy stuff. They do also on the toys. Toys is very dangerous because a young child use the toys, thing, and then they get injured and everything. So always be very careful when you have your own brand. When you start your brand, try to be proactive. Contact a company like us, and we can work with you and help to protect your brand from the design to the production, because you want to make sure you will be able to recognize the good, because they are creating exactly the same products today.
I mean, it sounds like we don't know how to spot. And if you are going to try to spot a original product or get the original products, you have to go to places where they are overpricing, right? Not only they sell you the originality of the product, but they also sell you the supply chain of the product. They guarantee the supply chain. So it's like a parallel market for the better, but it's costly. You see.
Exactly. But I always say be proactive, think about your products, your brand, code your products. There is codes that nobody can see. You have to use a special lamp, for example, to see what's going on in your packaging. I mean, there's many things.
Are you talking about holograms?
Yeah, holograms and things that you don't see it when you look at it. You have to use some special tools to see, or a special light. That's how it works. But there's many things there. I had a client was just changing on the packaging on one word of the descriptions of the ingredient. He was changing one letter found. So with that letter found, we can look right away was a different font than the rest. And then we figure out that it was fake.
So you help this client to,
Yeah.
I mean, do you design the strategy?
Yeah, because we say, like, listen, sometimes it costs money because I don't know how many production, we change one detail on the packaging. Okay. Then we know exactly how to, because they can copy also the things, but usually they don't, because it's one letter and it's very, very little difference, not too much. So we know, so that's how we see it. But them, they don't see it.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
And they don't change the letter found.
Now, let me, we are on top of the hour, and this is my question here. What is have you worked with a case where you get a client complaining about not only that the inventory is getting lower, but they are not getting the right quantity, meaning that there is a leak or somebody's stealing from their warehouse and stuff?
I had a case also. They stole the truck, the full truck with $5-6 million of merchandise inside. There was an inside job from the company who was doing the delivery, the transit, the freight forwarder.
How long did it take you to get to the bottom of it?
I had to send. We find everything. And I have to send one of my guy. It's a police officer, part time. He worked for me part time. He flew to California and he went there and he started the investigation. From there, we find everything. We got access of the camera, the videos. It was interesting. Very, very interesting case.
It sounds like a company owner and a brand dreamer. You have to arm yourself with the right partners, and a private investigator is the right
Absolutely.
partner.
From your background check for employee screening to your counterfeit trademark protection to any employee fraud, employee domestic violence, or anything that we can help you to protect your business.
Absolutely. What are you going to talk to us about next week?
Next week, so I was thinking, I wanted to talk about HOA and condominium association fraud. which is a very interesting subject.
Is this part of the corporate
Yes, yes,
okay.
Yeah, it's part of the corporate investigation
Uh-huh.
because it's a business. I mean, it's a non-profit business because it's to help the condominium association. But I mean, there is so many frauds and so many complaints because a lot of people are complaining. And for example, here we are in South Florida. There's a lot of condo. There is HOA, there is condominium association, there is so many buildings on the beach. There is so many frauds, and we're going to talk about how to prevent the condominium association being a victim of a fraud, of a conflict of interest. There's so many things. It's very, very interesting. A lot of action.
I mean, yes, I see that every single division or section of under the private investigation umbrella, there's always more and more and more to discover, and I don't want you to miss that in the next episode. What is going to be the bonus for our subscribers and our followers that you're going to give this week?
This week, we can give a free background check again, because I think it's the most popular things that people want to know, okay, about anybody or even themselves. They can do a background check about themselves to see what kind of information is out there.
Okay, great. You heard it from the man. And
so please subscribe, like the video. It's very important for us because we are trying to grow that channel, okay, to help the community. We want to help people first.
This is made for you, and you are going to be the one in control to check us out and to help us to give you the feedback that you need in order for you to save time, find answers to your problem proactively. And very soon we're going to have a hotline where I want to invite you to call us and ask the man directly a question online. Okay.
All right. Take care, guys. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Until then, see you next time.